Welcome, everyone, to the Songwriters on Process podcast. My name is Benno Papari, and on this podcast, I take a deep dive into the writing process behind some of the world's best songwriters. By way of background, I am a former English professor. I have a PhD in English language and literature, and I'm a writer myself. So this is a conversation about writing between two writers. My goal has always been to treat songwriters the same way that we treat prose writers, just as writers, plain and simple. So that's all we focus on. I don't care about tour stories, favorite bands, how bands get their name, favorite foods, anything like that. This is, again, a deep dive into the songwriting process with some of the world's best songwriters. And with that, let's get into today's episode. And today on the pod, Nick Allbrook from Pond. Pond's latest album is called Terrestrials. So we did this interview at 6:30 my time, which is U.S. East Coast time, 6:30 p.m. Nick is in Australia, which meant it was 6:30 a.m. his time, and that is by far the earliest I've ever had a songwriter for an interview. Songwriters tell me often they get up early, and I say, how early is early? And they say 10 or 11 o'clock. But as someone who gets up at 6:30 in the morning for an interview, there's got to be some discipline, some ritual to that process. And absolutely, I think this is a really fascinating take on how many specific parts of his songwriting process are so defined, so ritualistic in a good way. But that's some discipline. I'm an early riser. I don't know if doing an interview at 6:30 in the morning, that's certainly a first. And he says hard work is important and it feels good. My family put a lot of stock into working hard, so it's been ingrained into me. Um, there was we also a big discussion. I seem to be talking about this a lot with songwriters about why phones are so detrimental to the process. And he says, when you're on your phone, you miss all the beautiful moments and you forget that you're a writer. You miss all those great moments of inspiration. And he did write an entire song. I believe it was Stung while he was mowing a lawn. So there's that too. But and he's also not the first songwriter to point out that he uses that multicolored, I think it's a Bic pen, those old school pens that have like 5 different colors of ink, and you press the thing down and then the new color comes out. He uses that. But yeah, again, a lot of this was about the specificity and the discipline of the process and how important that hard work is. But again, when you're interviewing someone at 6:30 a.m. their time, they're an early riser and they love to get stuff done in the morning. So love this convo with Nick. Again, Pond's latest album is called Terrestrials. Here's my interview with Nick Allbrook of Pond. The first thing I want to ask you is, I do interviews with songwriters, typically afternoon, evening, and it's super early there, as we just said, 6, not even 7 a.m. So I would
Yeah.
love to know if that is when songwriters tell me that they get up early and write, normally early is like 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning. So, so are you a productive person in the morning? I mean, I think we're doing this so early, which I'm so impressed with. So is that typically your routine? Do you find that that's just your sweet spot when it comes to productivity?
Believe it or not, yeah. It sounds fucking crazy, doesn't it, when you say it out loud? But yeah, it kind of is. I don't know. Is that stuff genetic?
So that's a
Dunno.
good question. And actually, I just read this about a month ago.
Yeah,
I was an article in the Washington Post. They said that you
this is
could be a morning
great.
person
Mm.
or a night person, and it's genetic. And no matter, like when I was in college,
I knew it.
yeah, when I was in college, I could never pull all-nighters. I just couldn't. Um, but I'm on fire in the morning. Uh,
Yeah.
so had you I yeah, so was that I guess how did you discover this? And, as we talk about the ritual, is that where you is that do you consciously create in the morning?
Well, how did I discover it? I think I've always been. I don't know. You always kind of semi-aware of it, but uh I I'd like it's always been it's kind of family law that my mum is like, it's like a family joke that she'd wake up at night and you'd still call it nighttime. Um, and she'd always be tapping away, writing her thesis. It's like this memory that's kind of branded into my into me. Um, no, I think I really started being a bit more co- c- cogent of it. That like when my life started getting busier, because then you do have to kind of silo your activities a bit more. Um, because I reckon before I didn't know that I was like particularly good at writing in the morning or being productive or being focused or clear headed in the morning because I could just do it whenever the fuck I wanted. Um, and you're not forced to cram it in either. Um, you can just wake up, stay in bed, like look at your phone, you know, smoke weed, yeah, whatever. So I reckon it was like in lockdowns, I started becoming a well, two things happened. I I started I became a gardener. Like a professional gardener. I was actually doing it for work, and I started running. Got really into distance running. Um, and those things in concert make for a very very early lifestyle. um, and I still other gardeners will say it's so good. You finish sometimes you finish at midday and then you've got a whole day to do whatever you want. And I still could barely write after I got home. I was buggered, I worked my ass off all day. And so I'd still just like wake up at 5, 4:30 and like do some writing first. And I remember when we were doing the album uh 9, um, I stuck to a routine for one of the first, or like it was a really memorable routine of getting up at 4:30 and actually sitting at a desk with a groovy looking notebook. Like I was a heartbeat away from a quill. Um, and just like gushing and just doing like and not properly unconscious writing, but pretty close. And it kind of I think it was like the best lyrics I've ever written.
Hmm.
Um, so that was kind of like, and now I'm, you know, running in the morning is like a non-negotiable to me. Well, not so much anymore, but pretty non-negotiable. Um, and I often get distracted from doing that because I'm sitting over there at my little piano, fucking around with chord progressions or writing words. Um, and yeah, it's not exclusive to that, but that's the
So
sort of it's the clarity time, it's the energy time for me.
yeah. All right. So a couple of follow-ups. So what made you decide to start that ritual? I mean, I ask because when I ask songwriters if they're disciplined, they say the notoriously undisciplined. Like it's almost like they're they don't want to seem like it's work. And so sitting down and making it a routine, that sounds like, that sounds more like a job. So what made you decide to go that route?
I've always had enormous respect for work. I think, I think a disrespect or a sort of lionizing of the non-working creative is, I don't know, it strikes me as kind of classist. Like, looking at this kind of Byronian archetype of a creative person. I don't know, it's just like, if you haven't read Rimbaud, then you don't know anything about creativity. It's like, fuck off, you know? Um, so like, I think hard work is really important, and I really respect it. And it feels good. It feels like you're doing something. I've also got, like, I don't know, I guess I'd like, my family really put a lot of stock in sort of working hard, so I've sort of it's been indoctrinated into me. But I I remember I've got a pretty concrete answer though. Um, have you ever read what I talk about when I talk about running by Haruki Murakami?
I've read bits and pieces of it. I know that that's, I mean, I'm a big runner too, so I
Oh,
feel you on
great.
that. Yeah. Um, so I read bits and pieces of it, but not the entire thing.
Oh, it's beautiful, mate.
Yeah.
You must. It's so great. Um, but he literally talks about uh pretty much waking up at Sparrow's Fart and preparing coffee and sitting and writing until um everyone's woken up, everyone else has gone to their various, occupations. And then once his you know, once it gets to midday, he stops his legs from atrophying by going on a big run, and then spends the afternoon doing boring administrative tasks, and then listens to jazz and drinks whiskey and goes to sleep and does it again. And I was just like, oh my God, like, fucking yes. That I could not, that's so beautiful. Um, so it worked for me really well, but I didn't keep it up as long as Murakami.
I want to talk about the gardening, and there's the reason why I ask. Because one of the quotes, probably the one quote I give every songwriter in these interviews is Agatha Christie once said, "The best time to write a book is when you're doing the dishes." So the idea um, that when your brains are engaged in an unconscious activity that requires no conscious thought, that's when the eureka moments happen. So here's what I've heard. I've heard besides doing the dishes, I've heard gardening, vacuuming, folding clothes, doing the laundry, but gardening, the monotony of it, or I've interviewed songwriters who before they were full-time songwriters, they had day jobs like stuffing envelopes in an office, but it was an amazing time creatively for them. So before we talk about the running, I want to ask you about the gardening, because do you find that those kind of activities, any monotonous activity, is a boon for your creativity?
Yeah, it's more than a boon. It's like, I think it's so reliable that you could call it a strategy at this point. Um, I wrote all the lyrics to Stung while mowing or whippersnipping. Um, and literally just having to get my phone out my pocket and just hope the client's not looking out the window and just stop and go, okay, that's pretty good. That should be it. I'll figure that out later. you start going along and you're like, ah, God damn it. And um, yeah.
So why is that? I mean, is it is
Well,
because
it, it's got like it's exactly like you said. And I think that's kind of like, it's been, it's been kind of debunked, hasn't it? Like it's got a fancy name and everything, like, where there's this sort of sweet spot where your brain is being engaged, um, but it's not being cluttered.
right,
Um, and it's obvious, like the obvious thing is this is what meditators have been banging on about for thousands of years or whatever. Um, but yeah, running is another one. I've written multiple songs like that running, and the funny thing is, it's like with those ones, it is that, you like you said, that eureka moment, and it comes from doing the kind of pig work beforehand. Like, I don't know, just like an actual example, like stung, for example. I just thought, okay, so there was ages where we were just saying stung as like an in joke. Oh, I'm so stung, Um, yeah, stung by that rug. That's a hot rug. Um, whatever. And it was funny, and then it just becomes part of how you talk. Um, and I really wanted to make a song of it because it's kind of funny, but it's about infatuation. So it has a kind of emotional, real emotional side to it. But when, that's not a song, that's just a idea for it. That's just like a title. um, and every time I tried to write something, it was shit and forced. And then you're running. No, is that one running? No, that was whippersnippering. And then it all goes like, oh, randomly comes out as an actual song with like meter and a melody and stuff like that. And then I went home after work and went boom, and it was like, that fits great.
there's a great book called The Friendship about the relationship between Coleridge and Wordsworth, the two romantic poets. And both
Yeah,
yeah, and both of them composed almost all of their poems on walks. Uh
yeah. They in the Lake Districts, right? Was
yep,
like where his,
yeah,
and that was when Keats was inspired to write as well, going to visit Wordsworth in his writing area.
yeah. Now, of course,
Yeah.
with Coleridge, at least there were heavy amounts of opium involved too. So I'm not sure how much
Oh,
that
yeah, yeah.
but they actually, what's amazing about Wordsworth is that they said he would revise in his head and wouldn't come home until the poem was finished in his brain.
Yeah, it's like Jay-Z.
It's crazy. So
That is so cool.
here's my concern, because I'm the same way you are. My concern is that using those if I start recognizing that those activities give me the eureka moments, they won't, because then I'm consciously thinking about it. That's the catch
Yeah.
22, you know?
Uh-huh.
So do you does that so you when you go out for those runs or whatever you're doing, is it just a clear mind, or is it I'm gonna problem solve this thing? Because I think there's two different things, right?
Mm. Um, yeah, nah, it's not. Yesterday I was walking and I was thinking, I was also walking through a place that's given me a cemetery in Perth that's given me so many ideas. And I was walking along thinking, all right, here we go. And it was exactly like you said. It was just like, I'm trying too hard. I'm going to hurt my neck from looking around at everything, waiting for a word to jump out at me. You know, thinking of it's you look like a fucking loon just walking along, looking around, going like in loving memory of, um, you know, beloved father. Is that a song? Like, um, and yeah, it's just I think it's just having the probably something about just having the grace to accept that it doesn't work every time, but it does a lot.
Do you ever notice when you're running, do you ever notice the tempo of the songs you're thinking about creating matches the cadence of your run? I mean, I can see if you're going up a hill and your pace is slower, do you ever notice that it's affected by the actual pace of your run?
No, I haven't noticed that actually. No. Um, maybe it would be. Yeah, I'm not sure. Um, I've definitely thought of a lot of lyrics running. Um, yeah, but not for a bit. Not for a bit. I've been busy. I've been too busy. I've been doing I haven't had much time for the eureka moments. I feel like eureka moments need to happen with a little bit of space and stuff like that. I've been doing more of the brain dumps and the dog work, like not the sort of divine flash. Um but the good thing is like those things though you make so much more space for the divine flashes the more dog work you do. Um Which works in the same way as what we're saying, I guess, right? Like walking, running, because it's not so much the walking. It's half the walking or the running, but the big thing is having your eyes open to what you want to write about. Um, and I think that was my problem yesterday. Is I was just thinking inspiration song, you know,
Yeah.
um, which is not that's not a song. That's just that's a word about a song. Um, but when there's an idea and there's a kernel of an idea that you're kind of looking to flesh out, and you've got a kind of emotional framework around it, then you start seeing the world through these these song colored glasses, and everything is a signpost towards it. You know, every person you see through the window of their car and has a story to tell about your song. But the trick is not, I don't know, to me, it's not so much the running or the walking, it's the not having your fucking telephone out. So you miss all these beautiful moments. And it's just like remembering that you're a writer and and being receptive to all these things. And as soon as you do it, it's everywhere. Like there is
Yeah.
so much to write about. Um, and I don't want to be glib about it or make people feel bad about like that I have some sort of rare connection with the muse or something, which is bullshit. You know, you just gotta you just got to open your eyes and have a look, and it's all there. And instead of being like sitting down at your pen and paper or your computer or your phone or something and be like, okay, heartbreak, um, heartbreak, you broke my heart. I love you so much. It's like you start looking at all that. There's so much shit out there, and it'll speak volumes to this heartbreak, for example, that you're trying to write about, and you go outside and you see these fucking tradies up there trying to trying to build an enormous police station, and all they want to do, it's, I'm still in my home, and all they probably want to do is be like cuddled up at home with their partner, and they've got kids and dogs, and you start going down that route, and you've got like quite a rich vein of narrative songwriting. But if you're not looking up, then you don't see it.
Do you think it's important to create in some fashion every day, or do you think that a break is important? And I think some songwriters do feel like you got to do something every day, even if it's awful. Others say if you force things, they become derivatives. So where do you stand on that?
Um, eh, I don't know. I mean, what's wrong with being derivative? Like,
Fair enough.
if every derivative thing you write, you put on record and brand as your own work of unique genius, then I suppose there's like a problem with it or something.
Well, I guess what I meant
But
is if you find that it's not happening, do you force it,
right,
or do you say, you know what, I'm done for the day? There's a reason why it's not happening.
yeah, I think there's probably a bit of grey. I don't know. Like, I'm not an expert as well. You know, like you just wrote you're a you're a long form writer. So don't let me tell you, but yeah, I don't know. I think there probably is a lot of good stuff to having a little bit of practice every day, right? Like even if it's a bit shit, like
The
I don't know. There's also nothing wrong with taking a break. I take breaks all the time. Like, just can't be fucked. I get home, if I don't get it done in the morning, then I get home. Every chance I want to watch ancient Greece travels by train and smoke a spliff and do fuck all instead of practice songwriting.
I think that most I yeah, it's there seems to be there's a lot of opinions on this just because I asked that question, and there's no right answer, obviously. But some
Yeah.
people i- say, well, if I start to write and it's shit, then I'm not gonna. Why would I want to write shit? I'm not gonna continue to write. Others say you have to start with that to get to the good stuff first. Um,
Hmm.
in
I
other
think
words,
there's a lot in that.
yeah. I don't start with. Not that everything I read is amazing, but I don't think I've ever started to write with like that amazing thing. I have to get through the
Yeah.
crap to get to the good stuff, just because you're just kind of clearing out, right? It's you kind of you got to find your way to the good stuff. I don't think I've ever started with the good stuff. Uh,
No, yeah, you're right. You're so right. Like, no, in thinking about it, it's like when I go through my notebook, my notes app, all of the places where lyrics land, there's so much dross in there.
yeah.
And there's like these sort of song looking things, and I'll be like, oh my God. And like circle 4 lines in the middle, and I'm like, okay, that's good. um, or there's pages of automatic writing, and you look through, and it's like there's a couple little kernels of something in there, and you can carve it out, and yeah, and they are very, very useful for when, well, they can, yeah, like you said, they can lead to the good stuff.
All right. When it comes to
But yeah,
lyrics,
I think
you have mentioned you did mention pen and paper, so or you even mentioned a quill. So when it comes to lyrics, do you favor pen and paper versus keyboard? Is one more productive for you than the other? Does that not matter?
Not keyboard.
I mean, phone, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
versus pen
weird,
and paper.
actually. Hadn't thought about that. Phone, fine. It's right there. It's just buh, 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 buh. Um, pen and paper's great. Um, I think organizationally it's kind of annoying because I start losing lots of stuff, but I definitely use it. Definitely use it a lot. Um, Especially with the like automatic writing stuff. Um, I love to use pen and paper. I do not use computer. It feels weird. I don't know. It feels weird. It's
Now I'm gonna get
like,
very specific. They're a color of ink, brand of pen, type of paper. You'd be surprised how very
mate,
specific songwriters are to these things.
I've got a great answer for you.
So, okay, I interviewed someone in the past month who has those. So that's the old school pen that has like 4 or 5 colors that you click each color. And God damn it,
Yeah.
I forgot who told me this, but we talked about this. I have not seen those pens in years. So,
How good are
yeah, so do you use different colors for different
they?
things?
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, you can use the black or the blue for the the meat of the thing, and then when you're trying to find the good bits, you can use the red or the green.
It's amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that, like I said, I think you're roughly 500 songwriters I've interviewed. I think you're only the second to mention those pens. But what's hilarious is that now that I think about it, the songwriters who tell me they have 5 pens that are 5 different colors. And now I'm like, there's one pen that does all those things.
There's one pen to rule them all.
And it's cheap.
Yeah, it's so cheap and beautiful. It looks so cool. I love those things. I actually went to a in France. I went to a an exhibition of Bic. Um and yeah, it was fucking cool. It was fucking cool. Just like the lighters, all those pens, the shavers, and all cheap, beautiful, functional, different colors lined up. And I thought that was pretty sick.
Does paper matter? You type of type lined versus unlined, or color of the paper?
um,
Does that matter?
I think I prefer unlined, and
Mm.
it's been I didn't think that until the last couple of days. I reckon I've been because I've been working at the uni here. Uh, um, so I've been flush with lined paper, and it's starting to give me the shits. It yeah, I
So
don't know. It's
yeah, what is it about? I mean, because the unlined, you've got to have pretty good handwriting to stay focused. But is it that lined paper reminds you of school? I'd love to explore why the unlined is you favor the unlined.
yeah. I suppose it's like you can yeah. Suppose you can sort of do whatever you want. Like, I think I kind of go outside the margins a bit and like write little things on the side and like, you know, do arrows pointing around like to swap things and little doodles and stuff like that. And it all starts kind of looking like it's really jostling for your attention when there's these big lines on it. Yeah, it's fun.
I had Daniel Lanois, the producer, on a few years ago, and he told me that everything. He does everything on 11 by 22 art paper because there's
Huh.
lines, there's squiggles, and there's lyrics here, and they're nonlinear, completely nonlinear. But he loves to have everything almost chaotic. He loves
Yeah.
chaos in front of him rather than the orderly, the nice lined and the orderly lines. He likes the chaos. That actually is productive.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I think, like, yeah, it because it kinda takes a bunch of, it does take, I mean, this is why I do prefer paper, especially when you're starting to think about, like, really like, getting the songs together and starting to actually put them together. It's sort of like this many tiered process, hey? And this is just like um, just like a wicket keeper, like, or, the catcher,
Yeah.
um, that gets the strays. Like, it gets all the random shit that's flying
Yeah.
around,
Your phone
and
does.
then at
Yeah.
some point, you start putting it all under a title or whatever, Gum Demo 6. Um, you start going like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, there's a few things in there, blah, 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 blah." But then there's more times to them. Like, I always seeing as we're getting into the getting into the weeds of this. Like, I leave both open pages and, like, write one page usually like that, and then leave the other one for doing it again,
Mm,
um, with, like, phonetic changes, because there's so much scribbling out and replacing words with very similar words that sing better. Um, like, it can be hard. We've got, I don't know, it can be hard to figure that shit out straight off the bat. Some people are amazing at it, but for me, like, I don't know, like, there might be an impulse to use a real clever word. Um, and it might take you one or two revisions before you realize that you sound like a dickhead. Um, or that it doesn't sing well. And that, yeah, I don't know, there's so many examples. I'm sure you've got, like,
you
yeah.
you can see all those. I like the pen and paper because I see myself on the page. I see my handwriting. That is me. I don't see myself on my phone or my laptop because that's just a typeface that everyone uses. But when I see my
Yeah,
notebook, that's me, and that
yeah,
I find that emotional closeness makes me more productive because it feels more authentic.
yeah, I
And
mean,
I think also that practically, if you're not deleting, you still see all of the options there, even if you've crossed them out. They're still there, and you never know when you're going to use them again if you do need them.
yeah. Yeah, I think autocorrect is also a weird one. It's like, yeah, that's not your mistake.
Yeah.
It's not anyone's mistake. It's just like this sort of random algorithmic shit. I don't
Yeah.
know. So, but I like random mistakes from humans. They're great. I we've actually. I mean, this just speaks to the, I don't know, the stupidity of Pond, I reckon. But like, the other guys like mishear my words a lot, and then I'll just change them. Like, it's like, aren't you precious? But doesn't this mean anything to you? I mean, yeah, but it's funnier.
All
Um,
right, let's end with this. Since you mentioned Murakami, I'd love to talk literature with you and talk about who you like to read, how much reading you get to do. Yeah, let's have at it. Are you a genre person, an author person? Who do you like to read?
yeah, nah, a lot. I My favorite book and one of the most inspiring is for me is Lives of the Saints by Nancy Lemon. Um, I'm not really sure. You're not a secret like Southerner or anything, are you?
No, no, why do you ask that?
I thought you could help me pronounce it.
Oh,
Um,
wait,
I
what's
don't know. Her surname is Lemann. Leman.
that sounds like Le Mans, like
Yeah, it's just
Sprint.
like I read a review of I was reading like an article about her or an interview or something, and they made a point of like talking about, pronounced like a garnish in a cocktail.
Oh,
Lemon.
okay. Yeah.
Anyway, she's fucking awesome. I've only read that one book. She's like you know, critically unrecognized. um, but I think that sort of I don't know, it speaks particularly to the West Australianness of my writing and like the sense of place and the richness of exploring your own I don't know, the bottomlessness of trying to plumb who you are and where you come from. Which is kind of embarrassing for me sometimes. It's like, I don't have anything else to write about, but in a sense, it's just like, no, not really. It's people. It's people and place and identity, and that's kind of. But anyway, I actually would strive to be like her in my writing and be able to write about because as a West Australian, like we tried to secede from the rest of Australia, um, and then even recently there was another like Wagsit um thing, and if we'd had another couple of 100 years without the internet, then we'd have fucking insane accents saying "here, beer, um, grab a beer," and I think she does that like with New Orleans and the South in an amazing way, but kind of is really critical and really funny, but really tender. And it's all just about people and relationships, and they're broken, they're fucked up, they're, alcoholics and grifters but they're they have a life and they have an interior life, and also the way she writes prose is very weird, and she repeats words like she does this doubling thing of like saying the same thing just twice in two sentences in a row with just
Mhm.
the words kind of swapped around. That is so cool, and I don't know what it is about it. It's almost like I feel like Bowie does it as well. Just kind of shocking you with repeating. Um when it's this trope of of writers that you should be searching for synonyms in every corner. It's like maybe not. Um but she's amazing. And yeah, I think it's that sort of like reflecting, just looking at the dumb and mundane and quotidian of your culture and using it as a mirror to yourself and your family and stuff like that. But then, it's in that way, it's that sort of world of those sort of just like relationship, uh like Salinger, Franny and Zoe. Um just people and relationships talking to each other, getting to know each other, hating each other, plumbing the interior world. I mean, there's nothing wrong with a good like sci-fi and a fantasy and a rollicking adventure, but I think it's those sort of books that really inspire me and make me want to write.
And that's it for the latest episode of Songwriters on Process. You can find all of the old episodes on all major streaming platforms and probably some minor ones as well. You can also find them on the Songwriters on Process website. I started the site back in 2011, so that means there are hundreds upon hundreds of interviews with some of the world's best songwriters. So take a deep dive into some of those episodes. They are all great. Of course, I'm biased. Also, shameless plug. My book, Desolation, a Heavy Metal Memoir by Mark Morton with Benno Papari, that is me, is out now on Hachette Books and in all major bookstores. Mark is a good friend of mine. He is the guitarist in the metal band Lamb of God. And so we collaborated on his memoir. I'm biased, but that's a damn good book. Again, it is called Desolation, a Heavy Metal Memoir. And lastly, if you want to get in touch, go to the Songwriters on Process website. You can fill out a handy contact form and it'll get to me that way. You can also email me at ben@songwritersonprocess.com. I'm all ears. Send me your comments, your suggestions, your complaints, people you want me to interview. I get great suggestions all the time. I can't respond to all of the emails because I get a lot of them, but I do read all of them. And let me know your thoughts. If you have ideas for people you want me to interview, there's your chance. And with that, I am out. See you next time.